Everything in this universe has a beginning. The Big Bang. The formation of nebular matter into stars and planets. The first collections of amino acids in the Earth's oceans. The first creatures to leave them. The first mammals. The first primates that walked upright. The first religion. The first printing press. And ultimately, the first synthesizer. Robert A. Moog created the first practical, playable instrument way back in the late 60s. And no matter how powerful the synthesizers of our day, nothing comes close to that lovely, warm and organic sound of a Moog synthesizer. Here is an example for you to ponder.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey everyone, it's Foxx from Model Making Guru here. It's 1,000,000 degrees. Oh god, it's hot in here today. I'm going to try and last as long as I possibly can. You can probably hear the fan on in the background. Holy cow, it's so hot. It's so hot. I got up this morning, went outside to put the awning out at the back of the house, and already it was 32 degrees. And that's like at 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, holy cow. So yes, it's exceptionally hot today. I'm very, very sweaty. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I do have, because I ran out of Barry's tea, I do have the enormous coffee of happiness, but I also have, because I might not get to drink that because it's too hot, I also have somewhere the large cup of iced very cold water, just in case. So emergency use only. So yeah, we might not get very far with the coffee tonight. Anyway, hello, 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 welcome to another Warhammer Sundays. Warhammer, look at the state of this desk, it's filthy. Warhammer Sundays. As always, it's my, well, normally I say that during the week I do my normal builds, and then at weekend I do my Warhammer. For the last for the last week, because it's been so hot, I can't work in here at all. And when I go to bed tonight, I will suffer for having all the lights and the computer on, trust me. So I really can't do anything in this room at all for the last 2 weeks. So at the moment, it's every day is my Warhammer day, because I get to spend a few hours in the garden painting because there's nothing else to do. I'm so bored. So normally this would be my weekend when I work on my Warhammer army, the unending forces of the holy contrivance. Yes, yes. But as I say, this week I've been painting this guy here, and I'll talk about him in a minute, just because there's nothing else for me to do. I can't work on the Strike Rouge or Tory for Jordan, which is his Patreon reward build. I can't do that. I can't spend more than an hour in here with all the lights and stuff on before I start sweating and losing weight. And like I said, when I do have all the lights on and everything's been going full whack and I've been filming and the computer's on, I know that when I go to bed it's going to be 1,000,000,000 degrees. So yeah, it's not going to happen. So I make an exception for this show just because I like to try and keep this show regular. And at the end of the day, if it's too hot for me to do anything, we can just sit and chat and shoot the breeze. So there you go. So anyway, welcome. If you've not seen one of these before, basic format is I will sit and attempt to do some work. I probably won't, but I'll attempt to do some work. And you guys just get to hang out with me and hang out and chat, and we'll have a good laugh, basically. I'll answer any questions you've got, we'll have a chat, we'll see what the chat's talking about. And we'll do some giveaways. We've got some stickers and stuff to give away. We've got to announce, so we've got to figure out who's won last week's wheel of giveaways. Yes, and we've got to figure out who's going. Well, we're going to figure out what the prize is this week for this week's wheel of giveaways. If you've never watched one of these before, there is a live chat. You can see it. I've moved the camera again. I don't know where it is now. There is a chat here, but there's also a live chat if you want to take part on the YouTubes. If you're watching this on the Patreon page, there's a link in the post. If you're watching this anywhere else, like Facebook or Twitter or something, if you're watching it from there, or Discord, do pop along, do click on the little YouTube, I don't know where the camera is, YouTube icon on the bottom right hand corner of the screen down here somewhere. That will transport you insta-magically to the YouTube page where you can see the live chat. Do come and join in, there's loads of people in there, it's a really good laugh and we'll have a good time. And you might win some stickers, so you know, give it a try, come along, say hello. Also, as always, I'm really hot. I really am hot. I'm going to talk rubbish more than normal, I think, tonight. More than normal. I didn't even want to say that. Oh, hello. What was that? Somebody did something then. What happened? Hang on. I saw something. Oh, Brian Newby has subscribed. Welcome, Brian. Thank you for subscribing. I was just about to explain about the boss battle, so you've just taken some of my health down. If you've not watched one of these before, up here you can see there is a mysterious bar here. That's my health bar. We're playing Stream Boss Battle. Each week, people can knock my health down by doing various things. They can subscribe to this YouTube channel, which takes a bit of my health off, as Brian Newby has just done. Thank you very much. You can do a tip through the tip jar, which is down here, streamlabs.com/modelmakingguru. Again, that will take a little bit of my health down. Or you can do a super chat, which if you're in chat here, you can see the little dollar symbol there. If you do a super chat, it puts your comment in a big coloured box and stuff. That also knocks a bit of my health down. And the amount you put in for the super chat or the tip jar, the more you put in, the more of my health you knock off. You can see at the moment I'm on 42,137 out of 100,000. It's been about 5 or 6 weeks now, and you've got me all the way down from the greens and the yellows to the reds. Now what happens with the stream boss? When I get beaten, when my health goes to 0, the new person, whoever took me to 0, becomes the new stream boss, and that person will win a Warhammer kit of their choice, or something else. You know, it could be a perfect grade Gunpla, it could be a regular model kit, doesn't really matter. It's a Warhammer stream, we'll say it's a Warhammer kit. Basically, all the money you raise through the super chat, the tips and things, that's being put into a pool. And when somebody wins the stream boss battle and becomes a stream boss, I'll tell them how much there is, and they can pick whatever model they want. It could be a single figure, it could be a big massive box set like the Dark Vengeance or whatever the new one's called. It could be the Age of Sigmar one, the Soul Wars. It could be something in my mouth. Got a noodle in my mouth. What? Yeah. Sorry. It could be a perfect grade of some sort. I'm hoping, judging at the figures at the minute, when we get to me being knocked off stream boss battle boss, when I'm no longer the boss, the budget should be such that if you wanted, for example, the perfect grade Millennium Falcon, for example, that might possibly be an option. It does depend on how much the final budget comes in, but just keep that in mind. That's the kind of money we're talking about. So if you become the stream boss, you can say, I want that kit, and I'll say, brilliant, I've ordered it, it's on the way. So there you go, all free of charge, no cost. And then that person, oh hello, what was that? That Bugster has subscribed, well done, take a bit of my health off. The person that becomes stream boss, you can work to then take their health down, and whoever knocks them off the top, off the seat, the stream boss seat, that person then wins a model of their choice. And again, I'll pay for it, I'll send it to you. So it's a constant thing, we go on week after week. It's going down slowly, we're down to there now, so we've got quite a bit to go. So it's going to take a while, but get your tips and super chats coming in. If you are in chat and you want to ask me a question, for the love of dog do, it gives me something to talk about. Just make sure you put your question in chat in big massive capital letters, the whole thing, so I can see it, because I'm going to be working here, I might miss a lot of the chat. So put it in big fat capital letters, or if you want, do a super chat. So that's all the usual bumf out of the way. Let's have a look and see who we've got in. There's been a lot of chat before I started going live. I normally join in the chat before I go live, but I had to go outside and cool down for 10 minutes because it was just so hot. We have Mickle Pickle, Frankie Goes to Hobbywood, Tony Blackwell's in, welcome to the three of you. Richard Gibbs is in, Weebadoodles, hey Weebadoodles, Rinks Near's in, James Lorimore, Sally Johns, Davey UK, Scale Model Vamp. We welcome to all of you. We have Rockin' Gundam, hey Rockin'. If you don't know Rockin' Gundam, he's the guy that won that. It's not been shipped yet. He's the guy that won that last week before last. It didn't. Oh, there's another thing. All the stickers and prizes from the last few weeks, they all went out a few days ago. Something fell off. They all went out a few days ago, so they're all on the way to you now. So don't panic. Rockin' Gundam, yours will Spitfire will be sent out on the next prize run, because it was you sent me your contact details the day after I sent everything out, so it'll go into the next batch. So stay tuned. And I believe you're a Gunpla builder, so it should be interesting to make a Spitfire. We have, who else do we have? Who else have we got? It's Salty Johns, by the way, not Sally Johns. I read Sally Johns then. I'm misreading, I'm seeing Sally James everywhere. Bugster is in, I think he said it was his first joining, so welcome. Yes, it's the first one he's had a chance to join, he's super stoked. Ooh, Tony Blackwell, thank you very much. Pika Pika, so you're getting used to it now, you know the little sounds now. You're even saying Pika Pika. Thank you very much, Tony. Most kind of you. Scale Model Vamp, Salty Johns, whoops. Let's make sure you guys can't see that, because that's information. Scale Model Vamp says, I hope Buzz is visiting again. Haha, no, he's not here this week. Buzz was a fly that was joining in last week. We have Jerry's in. Hey Jerry, Welky's trying a floating keyboard and it's not biting his biscuit. I don't know what a floating keyboard is. Can you not just use a normal keyboard? Does that mean it's on your lap and you're typing like this, but it's wobbling and then you go, yeah. Let's have a look. Ghost Lyle is in, welcome. Pineapple reporting in, he says. Yes. Zadster's in. Nimcinder in. Yes, welcome all. Sergeant Bones, oi oi oi. Sounds very Japanese, that. Oi oi. Who else do we have? Lee Gallop's in, welcome Lee. Zadster. Hello, Frankie Goes to Hobbywood, we've done already, so I've done it twice now. Mike Hornsey's in. And I'm probably going to miss people, because I don't want to spend all episode going through them all. Osric 9000, hail Canada, hail Canada even, he says. Vincent's in, Mr. Lowe's Model Making, evening Vincent. Phil East is in, welcome. Speedy Q8, hello, don't panic, I'm here now, he says. Now, he told me how to pronounce this, and I think it's Aculeus. If I got that right, I hope he did tell me how to pronounce it. He says, hi Fox, hi all. Aculeus. Speedy Kate, Sarge. and Andy McLeish, Gabrielle Macias, JS Idaho. Not seen you for a little while. Hello, you've been away for a few weeks. Aviad Madar. And I think I'm up to date. And TK's in. Hey TK, welcome. Thank you for coming in. TK's a mod, so be nice to TK. You don't need to be told about that. You all behave yourselves anyway. GB's Model Zone is in. What, my darling? What? Oh no, I got you confused with Colin then for a minute. Gordon's alive. There we go. GB Model Zone is in. Aculeus, lol, close enough, Fox. Well, you did tell me, but it's on an email and that's on a different screen, and there you go. Never mind. Anyway, so how are you all this week? How are you all? Hopefully you're all having some lovely weather like we are. As I say, I haven't done any work in the last week because it's been so hot. I can't be in here. I've spent basically the whole week sat in the garden. When I've not been working on this guy, because up till about 3 o'clock, where our little patio is, I can't work because it's in sunshine. About 3 o'clock onwards, it goes into shade, and I can sit down. I can start working, because if I do it in the sunshine, I'm just going to die of sweat, and also everything dries out instantly. So during the day, I've just been kind of sat chilling, watching bees on our lavender patch. We've got a patch of lavender, and there's millions of bees on it. They're fascinating. And I've been watching the wood pigeons fall off things and fight each other. It's great fun. So yes, I am itching to get back to it, but I can't because it's too hot. So let's have a look. Stefan last, maybe I should say representing Swedonia. Still freezing here in South Africa, says Scale Model Vamp. This is weird that you guys are getting cold weather and we're getting, I mean, I know it's winter for you guys, but still. I seem to be doing more work in the evening and sleeping during the day. I can't sleep during the day, it's too hot. I'm melting in the US, in James Lorimer. Yeah, but you guys have got AC, we haven't got air conditioning. Fox, you have been enjoying South Carolina weather, says Robert Taylor. It would seem so, but just without the air conditioning. We don't have it in this country, most of us. It's not a common thing over here, so we're not used to having such blasts of... It's been about 3 weeks now, and there's another week or so to go. We don't have air conditioning because we don't have big, long, hot summers. We have air summers. So, you know, we might get a handful of sunny, warm days a year. So this, it's gorgeous, but it's hard work. Has anyone here used the Hobby Zone modular workshop stuff, says George Flouter. Yes, I've got loads of it. It's brilliant. Buy lots. Don't need to discuss it any further than that. It is really good. You can't see it. It's here. I've got loads of it. But yes, it's really, really good stuff. My sponsors, emodels.co.uk, actually sell it. So go and have a look. But yes, Hobby Zone stuff. You have to make it yourself. It comes as flat pack. Get yourself some Gorilla Wood glue, and you're done. I spent a day building mine. It's quite nice. It's quite pleasant. It all fits perfectly. Fox, how did you fade black to silver on the muzzle on the kit? I shall show you that in a moment. Very nice here in Ontario, Canada. Yay! Says Paul Di Tommaso. I'm going to have to go to Canada one day. I don't know why I love Canada so much. I just do. It's like, you know when you meet someone, you instantly know you're going to like them. Because they're like, you just think, that person is really nice. I'm not going to have any issues with them. They're dead friendly. They're dead thoughtful. I'll have to become their friend. It's kind of like with Canada. They're just nice. I tend to make my own stuff on my desk, says Jerry. That's another option. Bit cheaper. Yes, blink and you miss our summers, says Gordon. GB's Model Zone. Yeah, we don't buy, you know, offices have air conditioning. Domestically, most people don't have air conditioning, purely because we'd never use it. We'd use it for a handful of days during the year, and it's a lot of money to spend on something you're hardly ever going to use. So over here, I said before, it's like snow chains on car tyres. We don't need them. We get a few days of snow a year, and the whole country grinds to a halt anyway. So again, there's just no point. Ooh, 93 Fahrenheit with 100% humidity. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but today here it's been about 30 to 31 degrees centigrade, which is, I don't know what that is in cups or loaves or whatever. Something. I don't know. 24 degrees, 24 inches, I'm losing my mind. I don't know what that means. I'm going to back away from that comment. This may not be a long show. So I've managed to get the Imperial Knecht. Not finished, he's not finished yet, but I've been working on him, and I have got a couple of my armigers primed and ready to go, and I'll turn these over. I know I've got the camera up at the top today because I'm hoping on doing some painting, so I'll turn these over in a minute. I've come to the cunning decision from, if you remember last week's show and I was painting the internal frame of this, the lead belcher, and it was really tedious and took forever. Yeah, I just got a can of lead belcher and sprayed these little gits. They're little armatures, they're just sprayed, they are. I'm not messing about brushing frames for those guys. just nicely sprayed with lead belcher and ready to go. I have, for those guys, I have things like the weapons sprayed in lead belcher primer. It's the rattle can, it's the Games Workshop rattle can. It's technically a primer, but it's just the same colour as lead belcher, as their metal colour. So that's been painted. Yes, these have been painted with that. The armour parts have been primed with the Citadel Chaos Black primer, because they're not going to be metallic. And that's about all I've done today. I'd spent a few hours today. I've not got it here, but I'm building my third armiger, because I've got 3 now. So I've got that one being built, so I'm going to have three knights. I'm going to have 3 armigers. That's how it's going to work. So what have we done? And don't forget, folks, please ask lots of questions in chat, because I need you to give me stuff to talk about. I'll see if I can turn him over a bit without everything falling off, because it's all loosely assembled. Yeah, there you go. I knew that would fall off. So we have our knight coming on now. Now this is going to be the Zaku. If you remember correctly, my army is going to be what they call the Unending Forces of the Holy Contrivance. It's a Warhammer army that I'm going to play, but the colour scheme, the painting, is based on the Principality of Xeon from the Mobile Suit Gundam universe. So all the uniforms for the dudes and the vehicles, they're all going to be based on or attribute to or in the style of Principality of Xeon. So when this guy has decals, they'll all be Xeon decals. There won't be like a lot of Warhammer decals. So this guy is meant to be a bog standard Zaku. So he's all dirty and filthy and scruffy. I've started doing some chipping on the armour, and I've done lots of chipping on the top here. You can see just the first cut. I've got a light green colour for the chips, and then I'm going to do like a brown rusty spot in the middle. But that's him so far. I'll take some of this armour off so you can see the internal frame. It's not all glued together yet. I've got the armour on separately, just snapped in place. The good thing is when you've got paint on them, it just tends to stay in place, which is kind of handy. Now there's no magnets in this, before somebody asks, because you will. There's no magnets in this apart from there. Yay, it failed. Hooray. The only magnet is in there. So I just take that off when I transport it. I was debating whether to put some magnets in the pauldrons here, but I found that they just stay on with a friction fit, and you can move it around on the table, they're not going to come off. So I didn't need to magnetise that. Well, they will if you do that, but I didn't need to magnetise that. And with the paint, they have a bit more grip as well. I've painted inside as well, look. So he's coming on nicely. Let's have a look. Somebody asked about the burnishing on the weapon. One thing I will say about this, it may look like I've airbrushed some of it, but it's not. It's all brush painted. There's no airbrush on this at all. The black primer is rattle can. Everything else is brush painted. And I've just spent the last week painting this guy up, 3 or 4 hours a day. And I'll zoom in a bit so you can see that. Let me get the camera controls. Hang on. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. Hang on. Where's the zoom control? There we go. So it's all brush painted. All nicely brush painted. I have learned a lot this week about blending and feathering and fading with dry brushing. The majority of any shading on here is either an Agrax Earth shade layer and then dry brushing. I'll tell you how I did it. Here's what I did. I was all primed black. With the armour pieces, what I did first was I painted the green first, and that's just a base coat of, I think, Lauren Forest. Just brushed it on. But what I find, to get the smoothest possible finish with the paint, is add a little bit of water to the paint, do it on your wet palette, add a bit more than normal, and don't use a little brush like, don't use a little farty brush like a regular brush like that. Don't use one of these. What you want to get is a very soft but flat brush. Not this one, because this one's a bit rough and ready, but a brush that's that shape on camera there, a brush that's that shape. Because I find if it's a soft enough brush, and the Games Workshop base brushes are actually perfect for this, they actually do the job really well. If it's a little bit thinner than normal, and you just brush it on, but stay in one direction, don't do this, go like that, I don't know where the camera is, yep, go like that, and just build it up in a couple of layers, but thin it a little bit more than normal, you will get a lovely smooth finish. And that's why I love the Citadel paints, because I would struggle to get that with most other paints. So that was done. So it's all green. Then I still haven't brushed on the metallics at this point. What I did then was I gave it a heavy wash of Agrax Earth shade, just to brown it all up. And then I got myself a Citadel dry brush, and again, the dry brushes and the flat base brushes, I can recommend them. They are really good. I've got a Citadel dry brush, and I got my dry brush. I haven't got one here, but I'll grab that other one again. So I got myself my dry brush, went back to the Lauren Forest, a little bit on the brush, get most of it off on some tissue, and just dry brush it this time. But instead of going like this, like you normally do to get the edge, where you normally flick the brush over, I didn't. I put the brush flat like that, and I started doing this. I made sure there was almost no paint on there. And I just started doing this around some of the big panel areas, the big open areas. And what it developed was, I was kind of basically airbrushing on a highlight coat, to pad out the colours, but by dry brushing. Because I had so little on the brush, I could press down quite firmly and build up the colour slowly till I had shadows around the edges, but bright spots in the middle. And then I went ahead and painted on the light green colour. And the light green colour was, is it Skarsnik? It might be Skarsnik green, I'm not sure, I can't remember now. I think it's Skarsnik green. But yes, dry brushing on the highlight coat so that the shade is just in the recesses, like around that piping there. It was actually surprisingly easy. So I've had a lot of practice this week of dry brushing, like blend effects, like around these pauldrons here. This was all painted with the Agrax Earth shade, and it was all brown and streaky, and then I just got the dry brush and I was doing this very gently, very slowly, and gradually built it up till I had a fade from the green to what was still black at that point, the metal bit with the brown shade. It left a little bit of shade just here, just in that little gap. And then once I'd done that, I went ahead and painted the metallics, which is just lead belcher, a couple of coats of Nuln Oil, and dry brushed with Iron Breaker, and that's that. So yes, I've had a really great time this week learning that dry brushing. Well, not learning it, but getting better at it, perfecting my technique. Now, what I will do, because I know I've been making these in my own time, what I will do is, at some point, one of the nights, I will actually do a proper video series of painting the night, just to show you guys what it looks like and how you can do it. I'll use the same techniques, because I was quite impressed with how it came out. Not blowing my own trumpet. Now, somebody asked about the turret here, the gun, and how I got this kind of heat effect on here. Now, there are various different ways of doing heat effects. You can use coloured inks to get the green, blue, and the blue, brown and purple. You can use just normal paints, airbrush really thinly. You can do all different things. I came up with what I think is a slightly different method. Now, it doesn't have all the blue and purple, but I will say, this is just my own personal preference, but when you see these heat stain things, it's like brown, purple, blue and then silver, I look at it and think, it just looks like it's been painted brown, blue, purple and silver. I know if you look at like a proper heat stained motorbike exhaust, it has that effect, but it always looks a bit, I don't know, it doesn't really work in my brain. So I've gone for a more simple effect here, and all I did was, this part here was painted with Balthazar Gold, which is a sort of dark coppery colour. It's sort of that colour almost. Bit of Balthazar Gold on the whole thing, painted the whole thing. Then I gave it a shade of Agrax Earth shade all over, so I covered the whole thing in Agrax Earth shade to make it a brown darky tone. It went in the recesses. Then at this end I did a bit more Agrax Earth shade once the first coat had dried, a bit more here to darken it even more. And then this is where it gets interesting. What I did then was, once that had all dried, I did some dry brushing. I got myself some Retributor armour, which is a brilliant bright gold colour, and I dry brushed that all the way from here down, and I faded it out till about here, to about here or so, so it was just the dirty copper colour. Once that had dried, I then took some of the Vallejo metal colour Duraluminium 77702, beautiful colour, and again dry brushed that from here and then just faded that out as I dry brushed it till I got to about here, and then did some very light dry brushing at this end just to do things like pick out the edges of these little holes, just to catch those edges a little bit. So what you're left with is the original copper colour with Agrax Earth shade on it. That fades out into a gold colour, which you can't really see because I went a bit heavy with the silver, and then that fades into the silver colour, and that silver colour is just the metallic there. There's no gloss varnish on that, it's just all that paint. That Duraluminium colour, if you dry brush it on, it is a beautiful, beautiful smooth colour. So that's how I did my heat staining. And then I just went over the little holes again with some more Agax Earthshade, and then a touch of Null Oil just to fill them in. So that's that. So again, when I do another night, or even if I don't do another night, I might actually do a video just demonstrating that technique. If I get another weapon that kind of size where I can show that off, I'll do that for you. Right, now first things first, I need to have a look at chat, see what you're doing. I also need to take a swig of my big coffee, so I'm going to try this. It's really hot, it may go horribly wrong. I'll zoom the camera back out again, hang on. There we go. There we go. Scale Model Vamp says a mix of brown and copper also gives that burnt look. That is exactly what I did. Basically, Balthazar Gold, which is a copper colour, Agax Earthshade, which is brown, and then bring out the metal. So a lot of people will actually paint the thing shiny metal. If you use the blue, purple and brown technique, what you're doing is you're painting a thing shiny metal, and then you're applying the heat staining. I've done it the other way. I've applied the heat staining first over the whole thing, and then faded the original, the metal colour that should be underneath it over the top, and that's how I've got that fade. Because I'd had so much fun dry brushing, I decided to give that a try. Originally I just painted it silver, and I'm like, I need to get it heat stained. So what's happening in the chat? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Wow, there's lots of chat tonight. I'll start from a random spot. My air conditioning sucks, says James Lorimore. We welcome you with open arms, says Paul Di Tommaso. I don't know who that's relating to. Scale Model Vamp says it's his birthday in 2 weeks, wouldn't mind getting some of those modular pieces. Ooh, there's a hint. Anybody watching who knows Scale Model Vamp, he's kind of hinting. Get some of the Hobby Zone things. They have magnets in. The good thing is as well, I haven't got any here with me, but when you finish making them, you'll have a big string of magnets about this long that you're not going to use. Brilliant for your models. Let's have a look. Don't know what the weather's like. I haven't been outside in days, says Bugster. Can't be that bad then. Or hot. Gardens don't have air conditioning either, says TK, sweating in these past few weeks. TK's a gardener, he works in gardens, he works outdoors, so I can imagine that's a bit of a nightmare. Let's have a look. I love the burnt metal look on the gun thing, says Adster, thank you. Which sprues go into sprue glue, says Richard Gibbs. Excuse me, I'm burping. Any sprue you've got, when you're making sprue glue, you want to use polystyrene, not ABS. If it's from a Gunpla, go into the front of the instructions and look at the sprue list, and just make sure they're not listed as ABS. It'll be listed as PS. It'll say the sprue name and then PS for polystyrene, ABS for ABS, or PE for polyethylene, which is the polycaps and things like that. If it's a normal plastic kit, it's not a Gunpla, like an Airfix kit or an AMC kit or something like that, you're probably fine to go. If you're really not sure, I just use plastic card. I get normal model making plastic card, or plaplate as Gunpla builders call it, cut it up into tiny bits and dump it in. And you want it to be thick enough that when you pull the brush out, it doesn't drip off the brush, it just sits there like a blob. Let's have a look. General Grievous with triple armour, lol, says Scale Model Vamp. George Flouter, I hope there's a pink char version. There's going to be. This is the Zaku. This guy's going to be the normal Zaku. I've got to get 2 more nights, but the next one will be a goof. It'll be Ramba Rowl's goof, so it'll be blue, obviously. Now, I'm not doing any physical modification. I'm not adding anything to them to make them look like a Zaku, because I do want to play these in a game. And although it's probably highly unlikely, there's always the chance that I'll put one on the table and somebody go, oh my god, that's not a standard Warhammer model, you've got the thing stuck on it, you can't play that. There's always one of them neckbeards there, so I'm just building them as straight builds. I'm just giving them the colour schemes. I was going to give this guy a shield on one of the pauldrons, but I forgot. So there'll be a blue Ramba Rowl's goof, which won't be as weathered as this one. It'll have a little bit of weathering on it, but not too much. And then last but by no means least, there will be Char's Zaku, which will be, red colours. Char's Zaku will be nice and clean. For me to say this, it hurts, but it'll be clean and pristine, and there'll be no rust, maybe a little bit of dirt around the feet, but other than that, it won't be weathered at all if I can avoid it. So I've got to figure out how to make that nice and clean and shiny and looking good. And I have, will you have anything to represent the Black Tri-Star, says Paul Di Tommaso. No, not at this point. If I ever get some of the new knights, which are the even bigger ones, I might get some of those to be in this sort of colour scheme of the DOMs. I will be making, though, I've got 3 armages, and thanks to a suggestion from somebody who I can't remember who it was, I do apologise, I've got your email, these are going to be painted up to look like junior mobile suits, which I didn't know about, but they're like little things. There's actually a guy sits at the top in an open cockpit, but I can't do that. So these are going to be painted up to like junior mobile suits, which are basically a bright green with even brighter green accents, and some grey and dark accents. So I didn't know about junior mobile suits. Go and look them up. They're like little sort of, they're like load lifters. They're kind of like, you know, utilitarian things. So it looks awesome, says Scale Model Vamp, thank you. Where are we? The green looks fantastic, Mr. Fox, thank you very much. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, for some reason green's always a nice colour to paint, because it always comes out well. Whenever you mix different shades of green, they always complement each other. Whereas if you do different shades of like blues and things, they can come out looking like ass. Rocking Gundam says, having trouble dry brushing Tamiya metallics, getting too sticky, any advice? Don't normally use Tamiya, something new. Yes, Tamiya metallics are quite good for dry brushing if it's chrome silver. Chrome silver is a really nice colour to dry brush. Some of the other ones I've not used any of the other ones, I'm sure they're just as good, but chrome silver has quite a fine grain to it, and when you dry brush it, it comes out nice and smooth, doesn't have loads of bits of grain in it. Tamiya's metallics are quite grainy. If it's coming out too sticky, you just need to get more off the brush. Literally, all you do is you get your dry brush. Don't dip the brush into paint so it's got paint here. You just need a little bit of paint on the tip, like that. Do this. Get it off. In fact, let me just show you. Okay, what is this brush? That's not even a dry brush. Let me get a dry brush. Let's get a brush. Here is a dry brush. You paint. You need literally, well, you need some paint for a start. Hang on. Come on. Come on. You need literally about that much on the brush, and then give it a bit of this, as Duncan would say, work it in amongst the bristles. And when it's doing that, when you've got most of it off, that's fine. And then when you do dry brush, I've got nothing to actually dry brush now. When you do then dry brush, you're putting down the barest minimum of paint. Really not much at all. Because the trick is, if you're going to dry brush, you want to build it up slowly. So when I was doing the shading on these, it took me a while, because what I was doing was I was kind of doing this, building up the colour really slowly. There's not enough paint on here now, I've done that bit, but building up the colour real slow in circular motions when I was doing the, just to give some highlights. There's not enough paint on there now. If you're doing edges, you can flick the brush like that, but that's how you're doing it. You really want almost nothing on there at all. So that's how you do it. If you're getting stickiness and lots of paint coming off, you just need to make sure you get more paint off the brush. We'll just give that a bit of a rinse. Let's have a look. Speedy Curator as to what sprue says, any sprues, all the sprues, all of them any colour but small enough to fit in the jar. Yeah, just chop them into little bits if you're making sprue goo. If you're making a kit, say you're making a big kit, and it's a very expensive kit, like, I don't know, the Eagle Transporter kit that I did, what you can do, if you want to sacrifice a jar of extra thin, is just make sprue goo for that kit and use the sprue from that kit. Because what you're doing is, with sprue goo, you seal a gap with the sprue goo, which is just Tamiya extra thin, add plastic. The glue evaporates away and leaves plastic in the recess. You've basically filled the hole with the kit's own plastic. You don't have to. Any polystyrene will do, but just make sure it's polystyrene. I don't think Tamiya paints brush too well, do they, says Alistair. No, Tamiya paints, some people say they don't mind them. I can't stand them. I can't stand brushing them. They're horrible. They're not water-based acrylics. They're alcohol-based lacquers, effectively, although they're called acrylics. They're closer to lacquers than they are acrylics. They don't brush well at all. They dry out on the brush too fast. They clump into balls, and that you get a rough texture. If you are brush painting, don't use Tamiya. Use Citadel, use Vallejo, Game Colour or Model Air. Use the ammo paints are all right. They're not brilliant. I prefer them for little details, but not for big painting. I personally would say the ones I've used, Vallejo and Citadel. Citadel are by far the best. But if you can't get them, get yourself some Vallejo. For brush painting, absolutely the dogs. Don't try and brush with Tamiyas. Tamiyas are fine for little details and small things. but the metallics are quite grainy. The non-metallics come out, you'll get brush marks. It's not easy to get rid of the brush marks. You can thin them, but you can't use them on a wet palette because they're alcohol based, not water based. So yeah, don't use Tamiya's. They're perfect for airbrushing, but brush painting, nah. I only used Tamiya for airbrush. Never got it right to brush painting them, says Phil East. Dave Wise Run Gumbarker, evening chat. Welcome, Dave. Dave the Butcher's in. You know, Dave, you can sign into YouTube as your channel, and that way you get a free plug every time you type a comment. I'm just saying, you know the way everybody else does. Dave, sign out, sign back in as Butcher that model, and just there you go. Jerry says, bought some Games Workshop paints the day, and God, I didn't realise they were as expensive as they are. Yeah, they're not cheap, but if you're brush painting, they are worth it. They are that good. I'm gonna have some water because it's really hot. Wow, that's cold. Ugh. That was a little cheap £4 keep your drink hot or cold travel mug from Aldi, and it works. That drink will be cold for hours now. Let's have a look. That paint in your hand, Fox, make me think of the engine lid of a VW Beetle. It does, and so does that bit on the Imperial Knight. That gives me like a, what's the other one? The old one, not the Beetle. There's a car. It might be the Porsche, or is it a VW or Evolve? I don't know. It reminds me of an old car anyway. Get a super sticky really fast. Kind of shocked me, says Rocking Gundam. I'm not sure what we're talking about now. I've lost the thread. I knew a girl like that once. Somebody mentioned Street Waffles. Games Workshop's record profits are now accident. Yes. Citadel paints aren't cheap, but by dog they brush so beautifully it's beyond belief. I mean, to think I would get something like that on that pauldron from brush painting is, and that's with paint, shade, dry brushing. Dry brushing gives you a rough texture normally, but that is just paint, shade and dry brush. I can't say anything bad about Citadel's paints, I really can't. Jerry says, yeah, they are great, but they could be cheaper. They're about the same price as a Tamiya pot, I think, maybe a bit more, a bit less. You get less, you get 10mm, I think, rather than 17mm. But then again, Tamiya are designed for airbrush, so you probably go through more and thin them. You can airbrush these, but you just have to thin them quite a lot. They're quite nice airbrushed, actually. They go on really nicely. Did you thin your paints? Says, but why Fox Y? But why Fox Y? Who's but why Fox Y? That's but why Fox Y? That's an interesting name. Okay, says, but why Fox Y? Why does Fox? I am lost. The Auxin 40k need to refresh badly, says Jerry, and but why Fox Y says yes. Did you thin your paints? I always thin my paints. Always. I use a wet palette by default. So I thin the paints a little bit, add a little bit, put it on the wet palette so it's moist anyway, and add a little bit of water to it as I go along. Let's have a look. Porsche 911 Fox. No, it's an old rare German car, and it's got like a, it might be a Volvo, I don't know, it might not be a Volkswagen at all. It's just something, and I can't remember what it's called, but you'd know it if you saw it. You'd know it if you saw it. It's very rare, very expensive. I hate masking canopies, just had to get that off my chest, says Stefan Last. Yeah, it can be a real pain in the backside. Andy McLeese says, Warcolour are an alternative to Games Workshop. Many people swear by them. Never tried them. I'll have to give them a try at some point. Also, Army Painter paints are supposed to be quite good. I've got them. I love the Army Painter brushes. I've got their brushes. Absolutely brilliant. I love these brushes. 356 Speedster. Oh, what's it? For some reason I've got the word Ciroc on my head, and that's not even the right word. It's a... I'll find it. I'll find it anyway. Carmen Gear, that's it. Carmen Gear. I don't know why it reminds me of a Carmen Gear. It just does. It just does. Gross Models. Hello, Chris is in. But why Fox Y says I am. But why Fox Y? That's intriguing. I'm intrigued by that username. Unless somebody else has the name spelt my way. Chris is in. Fiat 500. Oh, it could be that. Yep, Fiat 500. Watercolour is very nice. Scale 75 is good as well. Yeah, a few people have mentioned Scale 75. I need to get some of that and try it out. There's also... Is it... there's a brand now that's what the people that used to make Citadel paints before it went to somebody else, and they just start labeling them. I know it used to be Cote d'Armes was them. Is that somebody now? Is that somebody? I can't remember now. The Army Painter paints are great. They were a set I got. They need to be shaken a lot before I use them when I first bought them. Yep. Most paints do. I'm thinking what kit I have that I could do burnt metal on, says Zadster. I don't know if you get away with that on a motorbike. It's on a motorbike kit you want that kind of colour transition because it's kind of what's expected. But I saw somebody do this kind of that colour blue, brown, blue, purple, or brown, purple, blue on the engines of a Valkyrie kit, and it just didn't work for me. It looked like a motorbike exhaust. Coffee. Avi Admadar says it is still Cote d'Armes paints. Yes, Cote d'Armes paint, if I remember rightly. Or basically the company, I think in this country, that used to make Citadel paints for Games Workshop, and then Games Workshop took it to China, so they carried on making those paints and called them Cote d'Armes. So they should be a good option. Let's have a look. Cote d'Armes made the Citadel inks back in the day. Yep, I think they used to make them, all the paints. So they're basically the original paint colours. Now, it's coming up to 8:41. I think what I'm going to do, because it is so hot in here, I'm going to have to be really naughty and disappoint everybody horribly and dive straight to the giveaways, and I think not get any work done tonight because it's too hot in here. I really am struggling. I'm actually having quite a good fun time just hanging out in the chat. I don't think I'm going to get painting done or work of any kind. It's a bit rubbish and this will be a really short show, but I'd rather give you something and come on and say I can't be on for long because of the heat, rather than just say I can't do a show tonight. I'd rather come on and suffer a bit. Let's have a look. That's what you're doing. George Flouter is, I am working on an Iron-Blooded Orphans diorama for an upcoming contest. Yes. Now, I do have some information. I do have some informations about future projects. Nothing to do with Warhammer, but I will tell you now. I'm doing this as a stopgap while I can't work on the Strike Rouge. As soon as the weather's back to normal, I can work up here again. I'll be cracking on with the Patreon Strike Rouge build, which is the Strike Rouge Autori, Strike Rouge mobile suit with the Autori backpack. That's a Patreon reward build. I was going to then do the Kshatriya after that, the HG Kshatriya. However, there's been a change of plan. If you remember, the Strike Rouge is a Patreon reward build. One of my lovely top tier patrons, Jordan, who is see on. Oh, hello! Somebody did something. Ooh, super chat. Says Andy McLeish. Kick ass. Yes, I was going to do the Kshatriya. However, like I say, the Strike Rouge is a Patreon reward. Anybody who's on my top tier $100 a month Patreon subscriber level, after 12 months, I build them a master grade of their choice or a Warhammer kit of their choice, and that's a reward for Jordan. He's one of my patrons. I now have a second patron build, the top tier Patreon build, and I'm going to do it as soon as the Strike Rouge is finished. Now, I'm not going to reveal too much because it's going to be awesome, but it's going to be a Sazabi, but not in the normal colour scheme. And that's as much as I'll say. I'm really excited to do it. It's going to be wicked awesome. It's going to have a link to gaming. Yeah, you see, it's going to have a link to video games. But it's going to be kick-ass. So when the Strike Rouge is done, it's going to take me forever, but when the Strike Rouge is done and that's all been packed off and sent to Jordan, the next build, I'll be doing the next Patreon build, which I need to get done, and that will be the Sazabi, the Master Grade Verkar Sazabi. I ordered it yesterday, yes, from eModels. It's on its way. I should have it tomorrow. Well, I'll probably have it Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I've got to find somewhere to put it. So the future builds, the weekday builds, Strike Rouge. Then we've got the Sazabi, and then I'm going to do the Kshatriya after that. Although I do need to start the next eModels build at some point as well. So that's going to be the what have I got for that? I've got the big tank, the Panther Aus G from Ryfield, so I need to start that at some point as well. So you've got 2 more Gunpla to come. You've got 2 Gunpla coming up. The Warhammer stuff is just going to be kept at the weekends, so we'll keep it on this weekend show. And then what I'll do as well is I will at some point do like a painting of a knight, or I may do a video series on an armiger, just to show painting that, because it's the same techniques for both the knight and the armiger. So I may do it on one of these guys, because I've got to paint 3 of these, and that'll be quite a good fun thing to do. Because what I can do is the weekends I can do some video build stuff for Warhammer. Keep the weekdays for my Gunplas and other things, weekends for Warhammer. Thank you for that, Andy, very kind. Uvavu, says Zadster. Fox, you're a trooper lasting as long as you have, what, 45 minutes? It's not that long. You better last longer than this tomorrow evening, Fox. Chris, the advantage with that will be I've had to be in here since 7 o'clock when it's actually quite hot. When we do the model stream, we don't start getting ready till about 10 past, quarter past 8, by which point I've had the window open, the cool air outside has started to come in, it's not so bad. But starting at 7, getting everything set up for 7 is what's killed this, because now the room is really hot. So we'll be fine tomorrow. Let's have a look. Have you cut yourself making that knight, says But Why Fox Wipe? Nope, no wounds. No wounds at all. And I've got to tell you, painting this guy, you remember when I filmed the Stormwolf, the Space Puppies Stormwolf, and I had an absolute blast, and I was loving it so much that I was putting out almost an episode a day, because it was an absolute fantastic fun build. Same with this. I've been only be able to get I can only get maybe 4 or 5 hours a day before it goes too dark outside. And when the sun goes in, I can get the shade to work. Maybe 4 or 5 hours, and I've been like getting up the next day and been sitting there watching the bees, and all I can think is I want to paint, I want to paint, I want to paint. So yeah, these big Warhammer kits, it's weird because they're good fun to build anyway, and I'm not a builder. I don't enjoy the building part of the process, but they're good fun to build, but they are great fun to paint. And because you're not worrying about airbrushes and things like that, you can just have fun brush painting, and the paints are so good. It just makes me want to keep coming back and doing more. So if you've been on the fence about Warhammer stuff, and you know it's not cheap, and we've explained this before, we've talked about this before, and it's how they're a model company, but they're not like a normal model company in that they don't just make models. They don't price them based on how much plastic is in the kit. They price the kit based on how expensive it is to use in the game. So for example, this knight is 80 quid, I think, for a knight, for a basic knight, and bits are falling off. 80 quid or something like that, 85 quid, something along those lines. I don't know what I'm putting these back on for. Yeah, it's about 85 quid, which you might think is expensive because it's not a complicated kit, but when you play it in game you can't have many of them because they cost a lot of points to put on the table. So they know you're not going to buy many, and that's how they work. They price their kits based on how many you can have in the game, how many points is each unit worth. So if you've got a 10 pack of, you know, Astra Militarum Imperial Guard grunts, you can have hundreds of those. They're only like so many points, 5 points each or something, so you can have hundreds of those. So they're only about 10, 15 quid, 20 quid for the pack of 10 dudes. Whereas this guy, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 max in your army on the table at once. So they're not going to charge you a small price for this because they know you're not going to buy many. So it's weird pricing. It makes sense. I like to think of it as it is to model kit pricing what playing Fallout and scoring a critical hit is. Think of it, if you're playing Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 and you shoot someone in the head and they're facing away from you, it's an instant kill. But if they've already seen you, you don't necessarily kill them, because if you get the critical hit when they can't see you, you get a critical shot and you get extra killing. It's kind of that idea. It's a really weird thing. I don't really explain that very well, but yeah, that's how they work. It's based on how many of them you're going to buy in your army, basically. So common stuff you can pay less. Points expensive, you'll pay more. But it means on the reverse, it means sometimes you get a kit that's really expensive even though it's not very complicated. On the reverse side though, you can get a beautiful kit that's really complex and nice and interesting for dirt cheap. Some of their kits, which one was it? Oh, hello, what was that? Lee Gallop, thank you very much. Thank you for sweating it out for us. Thank you very much, Lee. I'll keep going as long as I can. Yeah, like the Valkyrie, I think. The Valkyrie is 45 quid. The Valkyrie is an aircraft that big. It's a huge kit. It's got like 3 or 4 dudes. It's a beautiful big ship. and it costs about the same as a small tank, Lehman Russ tank, which is like 40 quid. So there are situations where you can get a model for not as much as you think. It kind of works out nice and cheap, so it does work both ways. But yeah, it's kind of weird. But if you just want a fun experience, it's worth it. I can't wait. I've got a Mortarion figure, and I might get myself. I'm not into Age of Sigmar. I've got myself. I might get myself some Age of Sigmar characters like Archaon the Everlasting. Archaon the Everchosen, purely because they look fantastic and I really want to paint them. I've got my Mortarion, which is the big Nurgle dude. I really want to paint him, so that'll be somewhere in the future. What else do we have? Something. Can you use the Citadel paints in an airbrush, or is another brand better for that purpose? Asks George. You can use them in an airbrush. They are really, really nice in an airbrush. You just need to thin them more than normal with any other paint. What I tend to do is I'll get little plastic disposable dropper bottles, and instead of adding a bit of paint, if you put some thinner, use airbrush thinner. Use normal airbrush thinner, like for example UMP's airbrush thinner, or there's Medea is airbrush thinner. Any basic airbrush thinner for acrylic paint, which is basically alcohol, is the best bet. Don't thin it with water. But if you put some thinner in your airbrush cup and then put some of this paint in, it'll go into the airbrush, straight down the nozzle and block it. What I do is I get myself like a pack of 10 disposable dropper bottles from the local art store or pound shop for like £1 or whatever. I haven't got any with me right now, and I put some paint into the bottle, about that much, and then I just add in more thinner until it's about the right consistency of skim milk, and then you've got the paint pre-mixed, and then you can just put it into your airbrush. You want it to be about as thick as skim milk, and I would say don't think of percentages. It's not 50% of this and 50% of that. Every paint has a different viscosity. Every colour is different. So what might make this thin enough for an airbrush might not work for that colour, for example. They might need different amounts. So just mix them till they're the consistency of skimmed milk. Not watery, but not too thick. But they are really nice to airbrush with. They go on really nicely. They do a range of air colours, which are basically the same paints but thinned. However, they're in these pots, which is a waste of time, so don't bother buying those. It's better just to mix your own. But if you don't want to worry about mixing, then yes, you can go for things like the Vallejo Game Colour range of paints, which I have not got here. That's Vallejo Game Colour. They're very, very similar to Citadel colours, and sometimes they've even got similar names because they're supposed to be an alternative to Citadel paints, but they're in dropper bottles, so it's easier to put into your airbrush. You have to thin the game colours a little bit. There's also Vallejo Air, which are thinned for airbrush, so they're ready thin. You don't need to thin them. They're tricky for brushing with, but they are brilliant for airbrushing. So if you don't want to use Citadel, then yes, I'd recommend the Vallejo Game Colour for brushing, or for thinning for airbrush, or the Vallejo Air for airbrushing without anything. Much easier, less hassle, but the Citadel paints, they do airbrush beautifully. If you can go through the hassle of mixing them and thinning them. Right now I'm building an HG Heavy Arms custom. Way too many seams to fix. Yeah. All the seams in the world. I'm lucky, Chris, I'm lucky Fox started late and I'm an hour difference in Germany because my missus kept me busy today. You might not want to qualify that one. Why, yes, Fox. But why Fox Y says yes, the space dog ship. That little one is cute, says Tony Blackwell. Do you mean the Armiger? Yeah, they are quite cute. I've not got. Let's put some weapons on them. I goofed because what I did was, on this one was the first one I made. Not only did I make his arms upside down, so these bits are upside down. Without thinking, I glued the top of the carapace on. Because I thought to myself, well, I want to be able to remove the weapons when I put them in a. When I put it into, that's the wrong weapon. When I put it into the a box to travel, when I take it anywhere. So I don't want to glue down the shoulder pads, the pauldrons here. But without thinking, I glued this in place, and then afterwards realised that of course what you can do is just glue the pauldrons to the top of the carapace, and then that can go on the top of the armiger like that. You don't. So I'd already glued this in. So what I had to do, I put two magnets here and here, and I've got magnets in the pauldrons. You see there, they're just magnetised. So what I can do is just snack them on like that. So I went to all that trouble of putting little magnets on there. Magnets! And what I actually realised afterwards was I didn't even need to do that. And that one's not quite straight anyway. I didn't even need to do that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, because what happened was, to put a magnet on the inside of the pauldron, I ended up drilling it through there, and you can see the magnet there. You might not be able to see it, but there's a little circle there. That's the magnet. Now once it's painted over, it may just look like a bit of armour, but to my annoyance. So yeah, so anyway, I've got that one with 2 dings on there. This one, it's already glued to the carapace, it's fine. And the third one, these 2 have got the long range weapons. The third one will have the chains, the Reaper chain sword, or whatever it's called, the small one, and a weapon of some sort around. So one of them will be a close-up weapons, and these 2, which is going to be the Armiger, and these 2 are going to be Helverins with the long range weapons. And they will be painted like junior mobile suits, which I didn't even know were a thing until I was sent that link. Show me what a junior mobile suit is, which is cool. But yes, what I might do is I might film the painting of one of these, so I can do at least one kind of how to paint type series, because if I do it on the Armiger, it's kind of the same as the Imperial Knight, and the Imperial Knight is a big long job, so we'll see. But we'll see. I might do an Imperial Knight filming. We shall see how it goes. That's what's happening. Damn, I just learned a thing, says Bugster. I just deny everything. I didn't teach you anything. Oh dear, I just realised it's Fox's turn tomorrow, says Chris. No, it's Ted's turn tomorrow. Ted's not done on What's in Store, has it? It's Ted's turn tomorrow, Chris. John Byers says, hello Fox. Hey John. Osric 9000, will we see the other half of the horse? There is no other half of the horse. Looks like an armoured porg, says Tony Blackwell. Gaza, good evening Fox. Hey Gaza, good evening. Jerry says, yay, my Triarch Stalker... Wow, heat. Yay, my Triarch Stalker conversion is almost done, just priming to go, and I can start working on some Mark III Space Marines for a bit of change. Yes. LD is trying to track down a 90s Chaos Terminator with a minigun. He has a skull mask, if anyone can help him out. Back up a sec. Did you say that Vallejo Air paints are just drop and go, Fox? Theoretically, Vallejo Air are mixed for airbrush. You might need to add a little tiny bit of thinner to some of them if they're quite dense with pigments, but Vallejo Air are just mixed for airbrush. Your mileage may vary, depend on if you've got an airbrush that uses low pressure, for example, like my Iwata Neo. Oh, excuse me, I've got the burps. If you've got a low pressure airbrush like the Iwata Neo, you might need to add a little tiny bit, but we're talking like a drop, if anything. For the majority of them, you can go straight in. It does mean that if you're using them to brush paint, what I found with Vallejo Air is, when brush painting Vallejo Air, I tend not to use the wet palette, because they're already thin enough. When you put them on the wet palette, they get even more watery and become a pig to paint with. So if you're airbrushing them, you can just drop them straight in. If you're using a palette, a wet palette, you don't use them on there because they'll get too thin. More water. Oh. Still cold. There's still ice cubes in there. Oh. Phew, Ted won't have anything dumb, says Chris. You might. Fox will be half a cat or dog this time, says James Chapman. I won't be choosing tomorrow night at all. I won't be choosing what's in store. It's Ted's turn. Now he's back. Ted's turn tomorrow, and who knows what Ted will choose. Probably not anything silly, basically. Vallejo Mecha are amazing for drop and go, even the white. I haven't tried them. Chris got some for his next E-Models build, which are going to be the real grade Zaku 2. So he picked up a few of those. But yes, the Mecha colours are supposed to be really, really good, and potentially drop and go, as in put them straight in your airbrush. Annie McLeish says, Phil, cheers, Fox, you da boss. Yeah, I'm the boss of no one. I'm going to try some coffee. Oh, I tell you what, this hot weather, it's doing me no favours at all in terms of my, daily coffee consumption, which is a requirement. I need at least, a litre and a half of coffee a day, just to keep going, just to stay alive, and it's not happening. It's not happening. Because I get up in the morning and I get confronted with that, and I've been trying to sleep all night. It's 1,000 degrees. You know, like when it's really hot and clammy and sticky and you get like about half an hour's sleep, and then you get up and I'm like, oh, I can't face coffee. I just have to drink water to hydrate. So I'm drinking gallons of water. I'm really not drinking much coffee at all. It's really weird. Half a chicken? Ted's turn, half a chicken. Yeah. Don't envy anyone painting a real grey, says Andy Butcher. If I did one, I'd probably brush paint it. I really would. Given the finish I've got on this, I've got an HG ground type GM to paint. I'm tempted to do just brushing on small things like that. Having said that, here's some information for you. I've kind of come to a decision, I think. I've got to test it out, but when I do the Strike Rouge or Tory, all those Gumpler builders in the audience, when I do the Strike Rouge or Tory, I've been having conversation with Jordan, and I'm going to build it in a static pose, which means I'm going to glue the frame into a pose, because I want to. My belief is, well, my feeling is, you have to cut a lot of corners and make a lot of compromises when you have a model that's articulated, because you have to account for joints and paint coming off and things like that. I'm kind of getting sick of doing that. I really am getting sick of thinking I want to do this, but I can't because it'll just scrape the paint off, and I've got to, you know, do this and that. So I'm doing the Strike Rouge as fixed pose. Got to come up with a good pose that Jordan's happy with, and then we'll just build the frame, get it glued in position, the armour can go on top. When I do the Sazabi, again, I'm probably going to do a fixed pose on that, and I think going forward I might now start doing fixed pose Gumpler, because I've got the feeling, I feel it will give me a lot more freedom to do things, because when I'm doing Gumpler now, it really is a case of, you know, I might want to do certain things with paint on the inner frame, but I can't, because anything more than a few microns of paint, and every time you move an arm or a leg, it's going to rip that paint off, especially if it's a strike. Whereas if it's just done as a static model, I can do whatever I want. I can paint as much paint as I want. It's fine. I don't mind. I found that the UMP primers, the Ultimate Modelling Product primers, which I adore, when I've used Tamiya primers in the past at Gumpler, I've not had much of a scrapey issue. When I use UMP primers, they're a bit thicker, and then I do start to get some paint coming off on joints. And it's just a real pain in the bum. I love the fact they're posable, but I just want to make some really, really good quality paint jobs, and especially for the Patreon builds, where it's a skill level 5, top tier, my best work kind of thing. I don't want to be making compromises. So, seeing how those two go, if they work out really well and I have a good time doing them, I'm probably going to start doing Gumpler as fixed. I'm going to lose the articulation, because in reality, I build something, it goes on the shelf, it's never touched again. So, there's no point making those sacrifices. Try iced coffee, says Zadster. I do like it, but it's not as nice. I just picked up the Master Grade Justice X09A, not a bad of a kit if you like the Seed series. I quite like Gundam Seed. I didn't mind it. See, Strike's my favourite suit of all time, so... Oh, stiff joint syndrome is possible then, says LD. Yes. Yeah, you've got to take into account when you're doing Gumpler that joints will move. Some kits aren't too bad. There's enough clearance between the parts that you can put a layer of paint down and it's fine, especially if you use Tamiya primers because they're really thin. But some kits like the Strike, back of the knees on the Strike, it's going to strip the paint off every time. Some of the back knee of a Zaku, especially that perfect grade Zaku, it took the paint off. Let's have a look. Good day to you people, says Daniel Stansfield. Welcome, welcome. You need to switch to Mr. Colour, no scratchy, says Lee Gallop. Yes, but I don't like spraying lacquers. If you're talking about the lacquer colours, in this small room and in a house with other people, I don't want to be spraying lacquers, to be honest. I've got some Mr. Colour Mr. Metal Colour, and I'll spray those occasionally, but in terms of lacquers, it's not practical for me to spray lacquers, unfortunately. Fox, did you know if you let the coffee cool down, it turns into a cool drink? Yes, I actually made this about an hour before the show, so it's nice and cool. I'm roasting marshmallows on a candle, says Nim Cinderin. Ooh, it's very romantic. I could just take mine outside, they'd be fine. I try to avoid those parts and keep to the outer points, says LD. There is one other option, of course. Don't forget, when I do a Gundam, I tend to paint the frame different colours, like metallic shades. However, if you're being a purist, and you want the inner frame to be grey, there is one workaround that works every single time, and that is just to take the inner frame and matte varnish it without painting it. Because if you're going to be a purist, you're probably going to paint it German grey. And what does it look like if you take the plastic parts and matte varnish them? It looks like you've sprayed them German grey. So there's a handy tip. If you want to be ultra posable, get the frame parts, matte varnish, don't prime them, just matte varnish them straight off. They'll be grey and matte. You can then go in and paint some detail parts on the top if you want. Paint some little metallic bits here and there that aren't anywhere near the joints, like the pistons and things, or the little bits that stick out in the greebles, like I did on my Synthesizers Stein, although that was just literally plastic and paint. And go for it. Now, of course, you haven't primed the frame, so the matte varnish isn't going to stick very well. It's not going to be brilliant, but it will stick, and the paint will stick to the matte varnish. But it just means you've got a matte in a frame that's the right grey colour, and it's posable. You can move it around. If any of the varnish does peel away where it's been in contact where the frame's scraping, you're not going to notice. So there's a handy tip. I have done that a few times, just matte varnish the inner frame and not bother with it, like I did on the Synthesizers Stein. I basically did some detail painting on the plastic, gloss varnished it, and then I think I matte varnished it after that. I can't remember now. So you don't have to paint the inner frame. TK's models back. Work, food and coffee prepared. Yes. I had to see a poor baby wood pigeon that brained itself at my nan's. Oh no, did it fly into the window by any chance? Oh, wood pigeons are awesome. They're already sort of fat and wobbly, but one of them's like really aggressive and attacks like... There's like 5 or 6 of them, and there's 2. This one is always chasing that one, and we don't know why. But it's always like, won't leave it alone. It's not for sex or anything. It's just like having a go at it all the time. It's like these two are bullying each other. We've also got some thrushes, some blackbirds, and some blue tits now. We have tits in our garden. It's ornithological. It's allowed. Question though: did anyone in Warhammer ever drink coffee? I can't remember seeing that happen. No. Duncan and Peachy like their tea. They like their Yorkshire tea. Kerry drank nothing but Coke, but now drinks tea because she was bullied into it by Duncan and Peachy. And I think they've had guests on who say they drink coffee, but I don't think anyone's actually physically drunk coffee on that show. If by some miracle someday I somehow end up working for Games Workshop and I get onto that show, you can guarantee I will have my big, massive litre cup of coffee. And I'll be like, Yorkshire tea? Nah. However, it does have to be said, if you watched last week, you will know that I had some Barry's tea from Ireland. Barry's tea, and it is actually a tea I like. I don't like tea, but I do like Barry's tea, and I will happily drink that again. So, yes. I like the idea of a fixed pose Gumpler Fox. I'm totally stealing that idea, says John Bias. Absolutely. I mean, I've struggled with it for a long time, with, like, you know, making Gumpler and the issue of the scrapey on the frame. And it is a big problem if you're doing a full paint job. Like I say, if you're just leaving the frame coloured, you don't have to paint it. But if you want to give it any kind of metallic colours or anything like that, you're going to have to paint it. I suddenly realised that when you see all these incredible paint jobs on things like, you know, Cesarbis and all the big, you know, GBWC winners and things like that, when you see them and they've got these incredible paint finishes with alkali metals and everything everywhere and all that kind of stuff, you don't realise, but they're probably all fixed pose. They're probably not, I can't get this back on, they're probably not adjustable in any way, shape or form. Because there's no way, oh, I forgot to tell you by the way, I also painted, I don't know if I can zoom in, I also painted the thing on the front, it just says Xeon. Not very well, I'm not very good at lettering. I can't do all that funky gothic lettering they do. Don't know how they do that. But yeah, when you see these like GBWC winner entries and stuff, they're usually fixed, because there's no way they could get all that incredible paint job on there without the kneecap falling off, with it being posable. Or if they did, they can, but if they ever move it, you'll probably see paint comes off all over the place. So I was like, yeah, just treat it like a normal model kit. Build it in a fixed pose, paint it. Stick it in a diorama, therefore you have to have a fixed pose. The only consideration that you need to think about, and that I'll have to think about when I do mine, is you need to make, I saw that, you need to make sure that whatever pose you fix it in is compatible with the armour. Why do I say that? Because think about it. These won't go on until I glue them. Think about it. There are many Gunpla mobile suits where the leg will only go so far or bend so far because the armour stops it moving any further. I could come up with a brilliant pose for the inner frame and then find when I try and put the armour on it later it doesn't fit. So if you're going to do a fixed pose, make sure, get it all, what I'm planning on doing is get everything loosely built, get the inner frame built, loosely fit the armour to the outside, you know, snip the ends off the pegs, they don't go in permanently, put it in the pose, touch some ABS glue if it's an ABS frame, touch some ABS glue to the joints just to lock them a little bit, take the armour off and then work my way around all the joints with more ABS glue just to make sure everything is locked in place. When that's dried I can come back and put the armour on. So that's how I'm going to do it from now on. And I suddenly thought, you know, I'm not losing sleep, but I'm like, you know, I'm losing sleep over how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to paint that, and that's all going to come off. And I thought, you know what, screw it, let's just glue it in place. It's going to go in a diorama or be on a display shelf anyway. It doesn't matter if it's poseable or not. It doesn't actually matter. Because, you know, when you get to the level of either the Patreon reward builds, or, you know, somebody's commissioned me to build a Gunpla, or a Gunpla that I'm selling because I've painted it, you're talking hundreds of pounds, many hundreds of pounds. They're not going to play with it. It's going to sit on a shelf. It's not going to be played with. It doesn't matter if it's posable. So there you go. Have Sieg Xeon on the pauldron. What I'm going to do is my freehand handwriting. I might do that like somebody's painted it on by hand. That's an idea. But I think on this one it just says Xeon. On the goof, when I get the goof done, that's going to say no Zaku on the front, because I can't fit ain't no Zaku. I'm going to put no Zaku on the front, and then on Char's, I don't know what I'll put on Char's yet. On the little scroll at the front, I don't know what I'll put on Char's. Oh, the other thing I've not done, I've not given him the dangly bit between his legs. You know, the little banner that hangs down, because this is a lowly grunt Zaku. He doesn't get that kind of finery. The goof will have one, maybe. And even if the goof doesn't, Char's will. So this is a night Zaku. I'll have a night goof, and I don't know what to call Char's. It'll be a Char's night Zaku custom, I guess. But yeah, have Sieg Xeon. I might. That's an idea actually. I'll have to do some practice because actually hand painting graffiti and text to look like somebody's daubed it on with a brush in real life, it's quite hard. My Gunpla tend to be in a fixed pose, says Andy Butcher, in the sense that I don't play with them, so they stay in a single pose once I finish painting them. Yeah. Also, so if you do a proper fixed pose, if you actually glue them into a pose, though, it also solves the problem of Brita's droop when they hold a weapon and the arm droops. Like my Sinanju Stein, it's got a brilliant looking massive beam rifle. It can't hold that up. It's bleh. So it also gets around that problem. The only downside is, of course, you need to use ABS glue. For most of master grades, or the older ones, have ABS frames, so you're going to need to be using either Tamiya cement for ABS or Plastic Magic, which was very nicely sent to me by Dad, Mike Mountain, which also glues ABS. Not tried that yet. That's quite thin and goes into cracks. This is quite thick and gloopy. So think of it as Tamiya thin and Tamiya thick, but for ABS. So do check on your model, on your Gunpla, if the frame sprues, remember I said before, if on the instructions it has the frame sprue and it says PS, that means it's polystyrene, and you are good to go with normal Tamiya extra thin. If it says ABS, then you need to make sure you're using either Plastic Magic or that ABS glue to make sure it all sticks. It's like a Space Invader. Bum, 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 bum. Look, he's got eyes. He's got eyes there, you see. And what's next? Where are we? Good point about holding weapons, Fox, says Andy Butcher. Anyone have suggestions as to what colours to do a dot filter on red? Depends if you want it to look dirty. If you're doing a dot filter, it suggests you're trying to weather it. Therefore, you want it to look dirty. So you will be looking for things like browns, lighter reds. If it's a bright red, like that kind of red, or a dark red, just use lighter reds. Because what you want is, with the dot filter, if you do it right, you can also make it look dirty, but you can also get a little bit streaking in there as well if you brush it around just right. So go for some lighter reds, some pinks, some very light pinks, possibly yellows, browns for dirty effects, even some blue, which will dirty it up a little bit. Dot filters can kind of be any colour, but definitely if you want to impart some streaks while you're doing the dot filter, because you know you'll get a brush mark every now and then, it'll look like a streak. Go for some light colours like light pinks, a little bit of white, maybe even some like light blue greys, very light bluey greys. Will all look good. You can usually use any colour, depends what effect you want. I'd probably go with browns, tans, reds and yellows, says Andy Butcher. There you go. Plastic Magic also works on normal kit plastic. Yeah, it works on any plastic apparently, but it's one of the few glues that works on ABS. Mix purple into some red wash, looks nice, says Earl D. Yeah. Rockin' Gundam says, I don't move mine either. Perfect grade Exia, labour of love right there. Earl D says his next Gundam is the Grimgird. My backlog is way too large for me to buy any more, says Rockin' Gundam, lol. Yeah, well you got a Spitfire on the way anyway, so yeah. What else have we got going on? Okay, well I think we're up to date with chat, so I think what we shall do is dirty and faded paint is what I was going to try. Actually, having that conversation with you yesterday, George, about the Sazabi. Yeah, I think I know what you're going for. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Should we do some giveaways? We need to figure out who won last week's, because I'll get the giveaways and stuff done and stickers, and then we'll call it a night for tonight, I think. I've not done any work, and I do apologise. It's going to be a short show, but it is so very hot. So let's do some giveaways. Let's do some stickery stickers first. Let me just get the stickery stickers. Now, like I said, all the backlog of stickers and prizes went out a few days ago, so they are all on the way to you. Now we have some model making guru stickers. We also have a small number of Team Inept stickers. I have a small number of, do I have any left? I have like 2 or 3 remaining Gross Model stickers. Chris's channel, Gross Models, go and check it out. So what I'll do is, if you win some stickers, I tend to send you 2 rather than 1. I don't just send 1 sticker, I tend to send you 2, I don't know why. So if you win a sticker tonight, I'll send you 1 of these and 1 of these, 1 of these and 1 of these, or 2 of these, depending on how many of these I've got. So there you go. Now I do have some sticker questions, and I will ask these sticker questions. So before we do any sticker giveaways, for anybody that's watching, oh, I've got low battery on my phone. Hang on, let me plug that in. Oh, I can't. Yes, I can. Let me just unplug my iPad for a second and plug my phone in. All these things you have to charge all the time. It's a nightmare. Right. Yes, if you're watching somewhere that doesn't have the live chat, you can see there's a chat here. Where's the camera? There. But if you're watching somewhere that hasn't got the YouTube chat, then click on the little YouTube icon down here in the bottom right. I don't know where the camera is there. Down here somewhere. That will take you to the YouTube page where you can access the live chat and you can be in chance to win test stickers. Right, so yes. I always ask for you to send me questions to ask for this section, and a few of you have. If you would like to send me, I'll ask you a question. First person that gets the answer right wins a sticker. If you would like to send me a question and answer to use in this segment, I will send you a sticker if I use it. So I've got a couple to ask tonight, but if you do have a question and answer that you want me to use, just send me an email to modelmakingguru@gmail.com. Just there. Send me an email with the question, the answer, and your name and address, so that I don't have to then mail you and ask you what your name and address is. Just include your name and address. And Goin's just sent me one as well. Right, there we go. Thank you, Goin. So what I'll do, I've got a few questions to ask. Again, if I use one you've sent me, I'll send you a sticker. I'll send you a couple of stickers. Before we do anything, though, what I need you to do right now, this exact moment, right at this exact moment, is press the refresh button, because by about an hour into the show, there's a bigger lag between chat and the video. So hit refresh right now while I go and find these questions. Thank you for the question, Gerwin. I don't think I'm going to be asking it this week because I've got enough, but I'll keep it there. Is that even the right email account? Oh, thank you. You just signed me to the wrong email account. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Right. Okay, so we have Right, okay. Just so I'll refresh your pages. I should give you another moment. You're all answering. I'm not even asked the question yet, you spoons. This one's going to require some Googling. Right. Okay. Here is the first question for some awesome stickers. This question comes to you courtesy of Nim Cinderin. So Nim, you didn't include your name and address in the email, so you need to send me an email with your name and address for the stickers. Just put the title, please send me some stickers, and your name and address, and I'll just send them. Now, if you've already got stickers, you're more than welcome to have more stickers. I can send you 1 million of them if you want. But if you don't want any more stickers, just don't answer the question. Give somebody else a chance. So, this is the question from Nim, and again, like on the E-Model show, I always assume the answer is correct. You have to Google this one. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Okay, what was the longest siege in Japanese history? Go. What was the longest siege in Japanese history? I have no idea if this is right or wrong, but as long as you give me the same answer that he sent me, I'll be happy. You can either send me you can send me the dates if you want, or the name of the battle, the name of the siege. Not how long did it last, but what was it called? What was the longest siege in Japanese history? Don't know if anybody will get this one. Did it? Obviously, Nim, you can't enter because you sent the question. Yeah. Super Omega Awesome Siege, says Phil East. Scale Model Vamp says Honganji, which is, I'll take that. It's the siege of Ishiyama Honganji, 1570 to 1580. It's a 10-year siege. So there we go. He was the first one straight in there. Honganji. So Scale Model Vamp, well done. I'm sticking to myself now. Scale Model Vamp, well done. Send me your email. Send me an email to modelmakingguru@gmail.com with your name and your address, and just put, please send me, just put stickers in the title. I need you guys to email me when you win something, because I will have no way to know if you need something sending to you. It's how I keep track of what I need to send. So both Scale Model Vamp and Nim, send me an address. Send me an address. Oh, I'm talking rubbish. Send me an email with your name and address and say that you're after stickers, and I will send those out. So thank you very much for that, Nim. The next one, the next question. What's the next one? Okay, here's the next question for you. So thank you for those. You all kind of got it in the end after, I think, there's about a sort of 2-minute delay for googling. Yeah, I love that. Right. Okay. Right. The next one. It's another handbrake turn question. This comes from Andy McLeish. So Andy, you're all sending me questions and answers, not including your name and address, so I have to mail you or tell you to. So Andy, send me an email with your name and address and say you need a sticker. Right, so Andy McLeish, here we go. Everybody ready? Cast your mind back to the 1980s. Which model of Ford was so common amongst the modification scene, it was written off in so many accidents that insurance companies refused to cover anyone owning one, and Ford ceased production a few years later? So I'll read that again. Which model of Ford, go by the way, which model of Ford was so common amongst the modification scene, it was written off in so many accidents that the insurance companies refused to cover anyone owning one, and Ford ceased production a few years later? I'm looking for the. Well, I'll see. I'll know it when I see it. You don't need to put Ford, obviously. Ford oopsies. Is that the first one? Somebody's answered it, but I'm just making sure it's the first one. We have Daniel Stansfield says Cosworth. Yes, it. Jeff Longman put Ford ship canoe. I can't imagine where you got that phrase from, Jeff. Yes, it was the Ford Sierra Cosworth. It was heavy. Everybody got into modding it. It was always tuned up, and everybody crashed them all the time, and they just stopped making them because nobody could insure them. Insurance went ridiculous. So Andy and whoever just answered that, because I've forgotten already, Daniel Stansfield, send me an email, modelmakingguru@gmail.com. with your name and address and say stickers in the title so I know what I'm sending you. Well done, so thank you for that, Andy. And we have one more. Let's have a look. One more. Okay, I'll ask the one that Gerwin sent me. Gerwin, if you want more stickers, just drop me an email as normal with your name and address. If you have had stuff from me before, and I've had your name and address before, this is to everybody, please, if you win something, send me your name and address again, because as soon as I send your prizes or stickers out, I delete your emails that have your name and address. I don't keep your personal information at all, so unless we're still conversing in an email chain that's been going on for months, I delete your details. So if you do win something and you've had something before, you'll need to send me details again. So go in, you're more than welcome to more stickers. I know you've had a million already. Feel free, just drop me an email, say stickers, name and address, and I'd kind of know your address, but send it to me anyway. Right, so last question for some sticktacular goodness. The question is, and this might be quite easy because a lot of you'll know this. I've still got Ford shit canoe that's stuck in my head now. Right, so question is, what is the blackest black paint called? Go. What is the blackest black paint called? Brune sauce, says Sergeant Bones. Tacos, says John Bias. What is the blackest black paint? Zadster straight in with Vanta Black. Yes, Vanta Black is, although I think somebody has just brought out something almost as black. There is one guy who hated the fact that they used a particular artist to advertise it and made his own paint that was almost as dark. But yes, Vanta Black. So Zadster, I know I've had your name and address before. Send it again. As always, send me an email, modelmakingguru@gmail.com. Name, address and stickers in the title, and I will send both of you. Go in if you want some more stickers, you're more than welcome. I'll send all of those stickers out to all of you. So brilliant, well done folks. To all who won and taking part, that's them done. My phone is really, really hot, even though I'm just charging it, so I'm just going to put it off and charge for a while. I've got to put it somewhere. So well done to Sticky Times. Now, we need to find out who won last week's prize. Last week's prize was the Abcan 2288, the Calamity's World of Mecha Design, which was sent to me by Jerry, as you can see by the handy label there. It's my little prompt to say, Jerry sent you this, you dumb shit. This beautiful, beautiful art book, basically, with all his concept designs and artwork and physical builds and sculpts and mod jobs and everything. Wonderful, wonderful resource. If you're doing, even if you're not making mecha, if you're making just anything, it's a good resource for awesome, awesome paint jobs. So, right, I'm gonna have a swig of coffee. I'm gonna get the tissue of moustache drying, and then we're going to get ready to give this away. So I need to do something really cool, rather funky. I need to go to, are we ready? I need to go to the infinity, a million mice. I need to go to this. Okay, so you should now be able to see, hopefully, the screen of screens. Can you all see that? I don't know what you can see, so I assume you can. You should now be able to see the screen of screens. Just let me know if you can see that or not, because I don't know what you guys can see. Let's wait for you to confirm yes, you can see it. Can you see the browser screen, the YouTube screen? Nimcinderin says, hey, I sent you a link to a moustache guard, you should have bought one. Yeah, I've got that. I've got the link. I haven't checked it out yet. Because I'm outdoors all this week. I can't use my computer very long, so I'm on iPhone and stuff, and it's not great to surf. Right, so, get YouTube without the ads. I keep saying no, and they keep trying to palm it off on me. Right, so here we go. So this was last week's thing. I wanted you to put a comment in about robots. Any comment at all, and I got 37 comments. There's a lot. You actually seem quite interested in this. For some things, I got like 10 or 11 comments. When we did the tooth giveaway on eModels last week, we got 11 comments. Nobody wanted that tooth. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah. So we got 37 comments. So we're going to take the URL as always. Paste it into here. We're going to load the comments. Dun, 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 dun. Are we ready? And shall we see? Sergeant Bone says, I missed it. You know, I give you a week. We're going to press a button, and do you want to place bets? It comes up with me again. Right, are we ready? Let's now pick. Get the latest Office 365 for your business optimized for Mac. No. Ready? 3, 2, 1. My metal Mickey is rusty from misuse. Biggie, biggie, biggie. Says Brian Costello. Comment number 15. Brian Costello, well done. You have just snagged yourself this awesome book of books. Yes. Yes. Look at that. Where's that? I just paged then. Oh, I've missed it now. It looked cool. Anyway, yes. Brian Costello, well done. You need to send me an email to modelmaking. I've moved the camera, I don't know where it is. modelmakingguru@gmail.com with your name and address. I think I've had it before, but send it again. Your name, address, phone number, just in case I need to, depending on where you are in the world. I might need to include a phone number in the shipping details. Name, address, phone number, and just put down that you won the book. I'll know which it is. So yes, send me that email and we'll get that off to you. Now, as with all prizes, I say this every time, I don't go out and post the prizes the next day. What I tend to do, because I go to the post office usually once every 2 or 3 weeks for other reasons, so I tend to let things pile up and then do them all out in one go, like a couple of weeks with the prizes in one go. So it won't go out straight away. It will go out in the next batch, which should be in the next couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I have regular routine trips to the post office, usually once a month, and I tend to do it all at the same time. So Brian, well done. As soon as I do the next pack, the prize run, that'll be on the way. When it goes out to you, I'll send you an email with the tracking number. So well done. That delightful book is now yours. Yes. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'll put it on top of the Spitfire, which needs to go out. I've got to, where did I put the Spit? There it is. At the moment I've got the Spitfire and that book to go out to the man of post. So that leaves just one thing. What's chat doing? But why, Fox? Why? I cannot read, so he can have it. Let's have a look. I gutted I missed that giveaway. Damn you, World Cup. I do give you a week to put a comment. It's the same every week. You only have to put a comment on a video. You could just put any comment. You could just go in and go on the comments and still count. James Longmore says, gotta go, kiddies. Thanks for coming in, James. Don't forget to come back and watch the end of this broadcast later on then to see what the next week's prize is, because it might be something awesome. There's some serious kick-ass stuff in this stash of prizes. Lee Gallup, he said he doesn't want it and to send it to me. Yeah. Right, anyway, let's find out what is going to be the next giveaway. So what I need to do is I've amended the music for this now so it plays properly. Are we ready? It's time to go to the Wheel of Giveaways. Yes, I've messed around with the music so it doesn't have half an hour intro now. Right, so we have now the things on the wheel. It's getting smaller and smaller. We're giving things away every week. So you know how this works. Basically, we will spin the wheel, have the most annoying noise in the world, and then we'll find out what you can win next time. So, are we all ready to spin the wheel? The Wheel of Giveaways. I want that one, says Fox Y. Fox. Fox, but why Fox Y? Right, are we ready? I need to press the button. Ready? 3. Let's see what next week's prize is. 3. Keep your fingers crossed because there's some good stuff in there. 3, a 2, a 1, go. I hate that noise. I so hate that noise. It's so loud. Zoom car. This week's prize is Zoom car. What is Zoom car? Zoom car is, I think, I've got to check now. Let me just, yeah, there's Zoom car. This week. Let me finish, let me do the concluding music. Concludes this wheel of giveaways. The Zoom car kit is this, the Revell 1/24 scale Formula 1 Ferrari F2005, the 2005 Formula 1. It's this rather lovely, I can't put it on camera, rather lovely Formula 1 Ferrari, which my friend Nikki would hate because she hates Ferrari and loves McLaren. You can win this. This can be yours if you're into making shiny. His face fell off. Oh no, his face fell off. He's lost face. I'll just move you over there. There you go. If you like making your shiny Formula 1 cars, even if you've never made a shiny Formula 1 car before, even if you don't even know what a Formula 1 car is, it could be anything. I'm just going to take my email address off. Give it a go, because at the end of the day, it's a really nice model. You can have some fun with it. You could make it all post-apocalyptic. You couldn't really make it, but I suppose you could. You could make it into some kind of Gundam with fighter plane Macross there. I don't know what you could do with it. You can have great fun. Anyway, that's the prize for this week. So, how do you win this wonderful Formula 1 124th Formula 1? Oh, I can't even talk. Hang on, I need the cooling waters of life. Give me a second. Oh. How do you get your hands on this Revell 124th Formula 1 2005 Ferrari? Ferrari. All you need to do is, when this stream is finished, give it 5 or 10 minutes. Find this stream on my YouTube page. It'll be a normal video, and just as always, put a comment on the video, and basically just put down, the comment needs to be, write down the sound of a Formula 1 car going past really, really fast while you're stood in the stands going, wow, that looks great, I can't see the rest of the track now. So just put down the noise of a Formula 1 car going past, or some amusing comment about Formula 1. I don't know anything about Formula 1, I don't do sport, sport's boring, so I can't feed you any ideas. Or just put a comment about anything, doesn't matter, just a comment. Stick a comment on this week's show once it's a video, in about, half an hour or so after the show's finished, and you can win that next week. Cool. So I need to put that to one side so I don't forget that's the giveaway. So win yourself a spanky Formula 1 car. I don't know, how could you post-apocalyptic, could you make that all post-apocalyptical? I guess you could. I don't quite know how, but I guess you could. But yeah, that's that giveaway. So I think that's going to do us. Let's have a quick last look at the chat. Just catch up with the chat and just see. So, hoping for the good one, says George Flouter. Ooh, the snakes again. What? Depressing car, but why Fox why? Scale Model Vamp says, ooh, George says, can you battle damage a Formula 1 car? Yeah. Just make a diorama with a wall. Seems appropriate for GB's Formula 1 weekend. See, I wouldn't know that because I don't do sport. Wrong team, says Ilti Yanderwerf. Yeah, my friend Nikki, she hates Ferrari. She loves McLaren. But it's already a good kit. Cartograph decals. I haven't checked inside, or if I haven't noticed them, but they may well be cartograph decals. The one thing Revell do is good decals. I may say things about their kits from time to time. When it comes to cars and things, they're pretty good. But the one thing they always get right is decals. Earl D has the right idea. Gumpler go-kart, yeah. Funny or bad comment? Any comment will do, Scale Model Vamp. I'll do a Murray Walker impression, says Zasta. Look up there, it's the sky. That sounds more like Moss from the IT crowd than it did Murray Walker. I did it. I applied to Countdown and they let me in. I won't do that again. They aren't loud anymore now. Something like bzzz. No, that's Formula E, isn't it? Andy Butch says, gotta run, have fun guys. Thanks for coming in, Andy. You're not going to miss much because we're going in a minute anyway. For McLaren, just spray it silver and grey. Yeah, and also make it kind of broken down as well. Brendan Hartley had a pretty epic crash yesterday in free practice, says James Chapman. My small Revell Snowspeeder is shit, says Earl D. Yeah. Revell Star Wars, I wouldn't touch with the barge pole. Wahaha, it's a Scale Model Vamp. Yeah. Just make sure I've not missed anything. Can I just leave a JPEG of Sheldon in a Doppler effect Halloween costume? You can't leave. I really wish you could leave JPEGs on YouTube comments, but can you imagine how much of a cesspit it would turn into, given how toxic YouTube comments tend to be? Right, well, I've caught up with chat. I think that's going to do us, folks. I think we're going to finish it there because it's been an hour and a half. I know it's only been an hour and a half. We normally run for 3 hours. But I am kind of struggling now. It is that hot. I have sweated about 18 pounds. Oh. Oh, I've sweated my own body weight out, I think. I didn't think there was much chance of me actually physically doing anything tonight because it just wasn't going to happen. So there you go. But as always, thank you very much to everyone who's been watching. I will be around obviously tomorrow for the eModels live stream on eModels channel. Like I said to Chris earlier on, that we start preparing for that about 8 o'clock when it's a lot cooler in here. So I will be around, don't worry. Thanks for coming along and watching. This is a bit shorter than normal show and watching me do absolutely bog all, basically. But until next time, remember to go and comment for the video. Don't forget that. Keep watching. We'll be around next Sunday. I will post up again, depending on the weather. As soon as I can go back to doing these at 3 in the afternoon, I will. But if it's like this again next weekend, I'll do it at 8 PM again. But when I post up, I'll say it's 8 PM or 3 PM. If you're ever unsure, I'll post up in the Boom Hut and I'll post up in my own Facebook page what time it starts. But just come and have a look at my channel, because I think 2 days before the show it pops up on my YouTube channel as a video, as an event, an upcoming event, and it will say in the title either 3 PM BST or 8 PM BST. So if you're not sure, just pop in on the Saturday or Friday, have a look and see what time it says on it. Anyway, that's going to do us. So thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to quickly cue up the music that I need to do. Thank you so much to everyone that's watching. Hopefully I will be back on with the Strike Rouge soon and filming. I can't do any filming right now. It's a real pain in the bum. It's very frustrating. But until then, I'll keep you updated with pictures of this if I'm working on this outside, and photographs of bees and things, and just wildlife in my garden, because there's nothing else I can do. But anyway, until next time, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you to those of you who have tipped and super chatted and stuff. I really appreciate it. Health has gone down now to, where's my health gone? 37,517, so we are getting there slowly. Somebody's getting close to winning some kick-ass kit. Anyway, until next time, guys, take care, and girls, take care of yourselves, go make something, go be awesome, and until then, adios amebas.